You lost good. Wow.
How'd you get here?
Okay, I've got a puzzle. Take the sentence, the tree is green. There's the sentence itself, words, grammar, linguistic structure. There's the thing actually in the world, the tree, that's green or not outside your window. Now, where does meaning live? Your first instinct might be that the meaning is in the words. Tree means tree, green means green. The sentence is meaningful because the words have meanings, and the grammar combines them. But wait, where did the words get their meanings? They obviously connect to things somehow. A word for tree that had no connection to trees, well, that would mean nothing. So meaning depends on a relationship between words and world. Okay, so maybe the meaning lives in the connection, the relationship between the sentence and what it's about. The sentence is meaningful because it corresponds or fails to correspond, its fall after all, to a real state of affairs. Now there's a problem. The sentence and the tree, these are radically different kinds of things. The sentence is linguistic. It's made of words, grammar, sounds, marks. Trees are physical. They've got cellulose, chlorophyll, water, boll weevils, squirrels. How does something linguistic correspond to something physical? They're not even the same kind of thing. What could correspondence possibly even mean here? This is where the concept of sense comes in. The philosopher Gilles Deleuze, drawing on ancient Stoic philosophy and modern logic, proposed that sense is the surface where language and world meet. Sense is not the words themselves. It's not the things themselves. It's the boundary between the things. Think about surface like the surface of a lake. It's where air and water meet. But the surface isn't air. Surface also isn't water. It's something distinct. It's an interface with its own properties. Things can happen at the surface that can't happen in either medium alone. Waves can form there, light reflects there. Water striders and saviors can walk there. Sense is like that. It's the interface between propositions, the things we say, and states of affairs, how things are. It's where they touch without being the same thing. The Stoics had a version of this idea. They distinguished between bodies, like the physical things that can be acted upon, and incorporeals, things that have no physical reality, but are real in some sense. Incorporeal things, they had a lecton, was one of theirs, which is roughly translated as the sayable, the expressible. A lecton is not the sentence, it's not the thought, it's not the thing. It's what the sentence expresses, the content of the saying. For example, when I say the tree is green, or I say der Baum ist grün, these are different sentences. These have different words, different languages. They probably can exist in different minds, but there's something they have in common. They're expressing the same thing. They have the same content, the same sense. And that sense is what both sentences share. It's not identical to either of them. It's not identical to the tree either, but the sense is about the tree. It's not actually, though, the tree. Deleuze argues sense turns one side toward things, one side towards propositions. It's Janus-faced, looking both ways at once. From the side of language, sense is what propositions express, the content, what they're about. From the side of the world, well, sense is how things present themselves to language, their significance, their expressibility. And this matters because it kind of resolves a whole bunch of puzzles about meaning and how it works. One of the big ones that has stood around for a while is how can a sentence be about something, but not be the thing? Like I said, it's through sense. The sentence expresses a sense. The sense is of the thing. The sentence and the thing, they don't have to even touch. They meet at a surface, just like water and air. It also solves the other puzzle. How can the same thing be said in different ways? like I just did in German? The answer is because sentences can express sense the same way. Sense is this really weird thing. It's invariant, even when sentences might vary. Which also begs the question, how can a sentence be meaningful, even if what it's about doesn't exist? Like, for example, if I talk about unicorns, sadly, they don't exist. Well, here it's because the sense doesn't depend on the existence of the thing. It's a surface between language and world. It doesn't require the world to cooperate perfectly. Another long-standing puzzle. How can someone understand a sentence without knowing whether it's true? You understand when I say the tree is green. You have not looked out my window to check whether any particular tree actually is green. And that's because understanding is grasping the sense. This is prior to the determination of truth or falsity. Those are relations between sense and world. Sense itself, this is independent of whether that relation holds at all. And we can actually make all these puzzles more concrete. Let's talk about an event in the world. A glass fell off the table. There are words, sounds or marks, whatever. There's the event, a glass falling, a table, physical motion, all that. But between them is the sense of the event. What we've talked about in Deleuze called the expressed of the proposition, the attribute of the state of affairs. The falling of the glass is not really the words. It's also not the physical happening. It's the thing at the intersection. When I said the sentence and you understood it, you're not actually accessing a physical event. You grasp the sense, and through the sense, you aim at the event, towards the event. The sense is the medium of understanding. Deleuze developed this further by arguing that sense is connected to what Stoics called events. An event, this isn't the same thing as physical change. Glass is an example. Physical changes have duration. They have location. A glass falls at this moment in this place. That type of event. The event of falling, the to fall, it has no physical properties at all. Falling isn't located somewhere. It doesn't weigh anything. It's what happens to bodies, but isn't a body itself. That sounds strange. Consider it like this, maybe becoming green. That's not actually green. Moving isn't actually in motion. These are a way of describing things that happen, not additional physical things happening. Events in this sense are incorporeal. They subsist at the surface of bodies, but they aren't bodies. Sense here is the realm of events. When you understand a sentence, you grasp the event that it is expressing. When you perceive a situation, the sense of the situation is the event dimension of what you are perceiving. This is important because sense can fail to emerge. If understanding is grasping sense, and sense is the surface where these heterogeneous elements meet, then when the elements don't meet properly, when the surface doesn't form, understanding fails. Read a sentence in a language you barely know. You may recognize words. You may puzzle out the grammar, look up meanings, but understanding doesn't have to arrive. You have components, not synthesis. The surface of sense doesn't form. Think about hearing words whose meaning you don't know, but that don't add up, or words you do know that don't add up themselves. When something is technically grammatical, it doesn't make sense. Colorless green ideas sleep furiously. Every word there has meaning. My grammar is fucking impeccable. But there's no sense. The surface didn't form. Normal understanding is this automatic emergence of sense, right? The surface forms, the meaning arrives, you're oriented towards what's being expressed without having to do additional work. Difficulty in understanding is often this failure of emergence. You have the pieces, not synthesis, the elements, not surface. And this is because sense isn't something you do. It's something that happens, or fails to fucking happen, at the meeting point of language and world, expression and expressed. It's an event at the surface. When conditions are right, it occurs spontaneously almost. When conditions are wrong, no amount of conscious effort can possibly force it.
I could roam through these halls forever if you like. Be trapped in this mall together if you like. I'd love to explore the corners if you like. The music plays so loud, guiding me where I go. In this vibrant crowd, do you feel it too though? Maybe